Poor Things is out in theaters, latest film from director Yorgos Lanthimos, adaptation of a novel written by Alasdair Gray. The film stars Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Rami Youssef, and it's just been nominated for this year's Oscars in 11 different categories. Best Picture, Director, Adapted Screenplay, Cinematography, Editing, Score, Lead Actress for Emma Stone, Supporting Actor for Mark Ruffalo, Best Production Design, Costume Design, and finally Makeup and Hairstyling. It's an incredibly weird, quirky, strange tale that takes place in a fairy tale-ish, unreal version of 19th century. It begins in London with Bella, played by Emma Stone, who, as we quickly learn, has in essence been a scientific experiment resurrected by Willem Dafoe, and his character, he plays this creepy mad scientist. He found the body of a young pregnant woman who threw herself off a bridge, and he took the brain of the unborn child and transplanted it into the dying body of the woman, and then revived this new human being. And Bella has since been developing fairly rapidly. She learns the intricacies of language, social interactions, physical movement coordination, and last but not least, all things sex related. And eventually she decides to go out into the world to try to discover who she's meant to be and learn all about the various things that exist. It's a pretty wild ride. There are definitely strong echoes of Frankenstein, obviously. The aesthetic of the film is kind of like early Tim Burton meets Salvador Dali, and then they both take drugs. It's rather trippy and deliberately unrealistic. And then it's also touching on a lot of similar themes that were explored by Barbie rather recently. Freedom and emancipation of women, learning who you are and growing into your own person in the real world. Themes of control and the way men relate to and interact with women in various ways. It's also a little bit about sexual freedom, and as much as I enjoyed that aspect, I would recommend maybe not watching this film together with your parents. There are numerous very explicit sex scenes. It is incredibly humorous, often in a dark way that Lanthimos has a sort of knack for. I especially loved Bella's interactions with the people at the boat, the running gag of Willem Dafoe's horror stories about his father torturing him in all these different ways, and last but not least, Mark Ruffalo's character. I know a lot is being said about Emma Stone, and rightly so. She is spectacular here with the way she exhibits the sort of growth and development and change that occurs in Bella over time. Plus, it's a very physical performance, and I don't just mean the sex stuff. There's a ton of physical slapstick humor in the film, and she nails all of that. But Mark Ruffalo keeps up with her every step of the way, and he plays a character that, which he himself admitted, is way out of his regular repertoire, and he nails it anyway. Fantastic comic relief, and a character that goes from mysteriously charismatic to whiny and pathetic over the course of the story. I love the production design, the costumes, all of that, phenomenal stuff. Every scene I would try to spot as many different details in the background as I could. There's a lot going on almost every time, and almost every frame is sort of designed to have really all these various elements that you might not even notice at first glance, but they sort of work together to create this rich, vivid picture. And I also appreciated that for the most part it dealt with its themes in a much more subtle way than, going back to the previous comparison, than Barbie. It felt like a more adult film, and again, not just because of the sex. My one complaint, maybe two complaints. One is the runtime. I think the film is just a little bit too long and drags a bit in the middle part. I would have liked it to be just a bit more polished in that regard. And secondly, the ending feels strangely rushed, which may seem contrary to the previous complaint, but yeah, in an otherwise patient and unhurried film, the final act comes almost out of nowhere and offers a resolution that feels maybe too obvious and easy. But hey, I think the movie up until that part is strong enough to sort of have earned that anyway. And I enjoyed the ending scene and the way it's all wrapped up for these characters. Really solid movie overall, probably weird and inventive. but also strangely relatable and familiar in many ways. It's very entertaining and incredibly well put together on a technical level, and has some great performances from actors who are clearly all having a blast. Not much to dislike here.